Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. We are here, just concluded up practice on the Chowan River in Edenton, North Carolina. We've got a massive playing field, and they've given us boundaries where we can go about 30 miles up the Chowan, we can go 30 miles up the Roanoke River, and we can go about 15 miles, I think, to the towards the ocean. Really big playing field when you start looking at all of the shoreline cover. We've got miles upon miles upon miles upon miles of cypress trees. I've actually never been to a fishery where I cannot tell like parts of cover apart. What I mean by that is you can pretty much go anywhere up the Chowan River and get cypress trees, meaning it's pretty much a straight line. And if there aren't cypress trees, it's because there's a stretch of docks. So it's one of those things where there's just a ton of cover, and it's a pretty monotonous bottom consistency, meaning you've got your cypress trees and then it just kind of tapers off into the main channel. Not a whole lot of cover from what I saw. Now when I say cover, I should say like contour line changes, depth changes, and the reality is there's too much cover because you've got cypress trees everywhere, and then at the same time, you've got tons and tons and tons of submerged cypress trees. You've got, I think, lots of devastation from hurricanes in the past. And because of that, there's just a ton of cover. And, when I came here, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought there'd be a lot more like shoreline grass, a lot more submerged weeds, maybe some lily pads. And there are some lily pads, but there's just not a whole lot of difference in terms of what we can fish. The Roanoke River does have a ton of current, and I spent the first day of practice up there, which I wish I had swapped day one and day three of practice, because I would have gone up the Roanoke on day three, and the water's falling up there. I think that might help position the fish a little bit better. When I was up there, it was raging and it was still high. A lot of fish, I think, were still pushing back into some of the cypress swamps. So from that standpoint, I didn't find much up there. I'll be on the Showin, whatever it's called. I don't. Everyone calls it something different, um, and I'll just be bumping around. I'm probably gonna pick a stretch where I had some bites, put the trolling motor down, and see how I feel. I may never pick the trolling motor back up until the end of the day. I mean, that's really how this place is shaping up. And I've talked to a lot of other anglers that feel the same way. I think you've got a couple of different ways to catch them. From what I've seen, you can be fishing the trees, which is probably what I'll be doing, or you could be fishing some of the sunken trees and submerged wood that's kind of just outside of those trees. And I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be doing that too, where they're scoping them and they're just looking for cover and throwing at the cover. So, and both of that, and I've had some bites doing both. The issue here is there's a lot of little fish, a lot of fish that are going to be under that pound and a half mark, and getting a keeper bite's a little bit tougher. I've had the first day was a really bad day. I only had a couple of keeper bites. In the last 2 days, I've had I don't know, 10, 12 keeper bites. So I feel like if I can do that, I should be able to put myself in a position where, I think that'll be enough to get paid. I think depending on the size of those fish, that should be enough to potentially make the top 10. I've talked to some guys that think you're going to need 35 pounds total. I've talked to some guys that think you're going to need 45 pounds. And I've talked to some guys that said if you catch 5 keepers, 5 pound and a halfers a day, you're getting paid. So I don't really know. There's not much history in this place in the past. So from that standpoint, we can't look at that. There's tournament results, but there's not total weight tournament results. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out. I wish, being boat number one tomorrow, I wish I had a specific spot I had to start on, and I really don't. I'm just gonna pick a stretch and just start going and see how that works out. I'm fishing my strengths, a lot of power fishing baits, swim jigs, top waters, frogs, a little bit of everything. From a power fishing standpoint, if it's a area with some pads mixed in, I might throw a frog, might throw a swim jig. If it's an area with just clean cypress trees, I might be throwing vibrating jigs and spinner baits, even potentially some crankbaits. So we're just going to bum around, see what we can figure out. And you can watch us tomorrow live. So I fish tomorrow, Tuesday. So I guess when this comes out, it will actually be Tuesday, so you can go see the results. And then I'll also be fishing on Thursday. Anyways, guys, this is going to be, don't know what to expect. I think a lot of us feel that way. Keeping the fingers crossed, I get a couple of big bites. You know, the first day of practice, never saw a good one. Second day of practice, had decent number of keeper bites, never saw a good one, a big one. And then today I had decent bites, and I think I had 2 or 3 really nice bites. So we'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support. And we'll see you tomorrow. Another video coming out.